What can you expect at Walt Disney World this summer? In this episode, we'll discuss the 7 new attractions that opened on May 26th. Welcome aboard Imagination Skyway, your guided tour through the worlds of Disney and Imagineering. I'm your host, Matthew Kroll, and it's my job to explore the stories and places we love and the people who bring them to life. In today's episode, I share my thoughts about the new experiences now open at Walt Disney World for Cool Kids Summer. Last week, I had the incredible opportunity to attend a week-long preview at the Walt Disney World Resort thanks to an invitation from Disney Parks. This event gave me the chance to sample many of the attractions now open at all 4 theme parks and to stay at Disney's Port Orleans Resort Riverside, which was a resort my family and I stayed at countless times as a kid, but I haven't stayed at in over 10 years. I'll also share more about what this all means for the future of Walt Disney World. As you fasten your seatbelt, I encourage you to take out your mobile devices and search for Imagination Skyway on your favorite social media app. And if you're looking for ad-free episodes and bonus content, become an Imagination Skyway pass holder at patreon.com/Imagination Skyway. And remember, if this episode leaves you yearning for a trip to Disney or any other destination, I'm already excited to go back. Reach out to our partners and sponsors at KMV Travel, voted the top travel agency in Orlando in 2025. To get started, visit kmvtravel.com/Skyway. As we begin our journey, please remain seated, keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times, and enjoy your journey aboard Imagination Skyway. As I mentioned in the intro of this episode, last week I had this incredible opportunity, thanks to an invitation from Disney Parks, to spend a week at Walt Disney World. And this was a solo trip. I really wish the girls could have been there with me, but because of Joanna's teaching schedule, the schools in the Northeast, in case you're not familiar, go until the end of June. We usually start the beginning of September and then go through the end of June, unlike the majority of the country. She was, of course, unable to take the week off from work, but this gave me a chance to reflect, and I'm happy that we had already planned and are planning to go back to Walt Disney World this summer. We tend to take at least a week together for a family vacation in the summer, and I'm really excited about all the new experiences that I got to preview and can't wait to see everybody's reactions, whether it's Joanna's reaction to trying one of the new thrill attractions or Maggie and Emily's reactions to experiencing a brand new show, because I really got to see and do it all. And I have this new perspective on all the things that Disney is slowly starting to work on. And if you look at the way that the pieces are coming together, you get a really clear picture of what the future of the parks are going to look like. We've seen little bits and pieces of major updates that are coming to each park. We know Magic Kingdom, we have a couple of major lands that are being built right now. If you head over to Frontierlands, you can see all this work being done on the development of Piston Peak, which the concept art I still think looks incredible. And I've said it looks a bit like Grizzly Peak at Disney California Adventure meets Frontierland meets Cars Land, and you put them all together and it's going to create these really sweeping vistas from Frontierland to Liberty Square. And in Villains Land behind that, and thinking about, well, what new attractions might be coming there? What sort of clues can we glean from the concept art that was shared? Is it going to be really dark and lean into a more adult audience? Is it going to be a little bit more lighthearted? And think about something like Villains Unfairly Ever After, which I think is going to give us a glimpse at what Villains Land is going to be like, because even my girls, while they're a little bit scared of meeting the villains, they know, and I've explained to them, that the villains are happy to see us and they want us to love them and to respect them. And I think we're going to get some pieces of that in Villains Land, but that's not leaning too heavily into a predictions episode. This is more to showcase some of the updates and what Disney is doing. So again, thinking about Magic Kingdom, we have those 2 new lands. We have the, update for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and the update for Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, both of which I think are home runs. I think Disney has done an incredible job with both of these classics and thinking about how to keep them relevant, how to plus them in the spirit of Walt Disney and what he always hoped the parks would do. And there are little pieces here and there that I'm sure Disney will continue to tweak. We already got one piece of it with the audio animatronic that's going to be coming to Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress. Still waiting on some more news about the timeline for that, but we know that there's now going to be the audio animatronic from Walt Disney: A Magical Life at Disneyland. There's going to be a new audio animatronic of Walt at Carousel of Progress. So, all of these little incremental updates are piece by piece creating a version of each of these parks. I just used Magic Kingdom as an example, but creating a version of these parks that will remain relevant for families. It still honors the traditions and the nostalgia that many of us feel. Big Thunder Mountain Railroad is still Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, but it's updated, it's enhanced, it received a brand new track, and it's now smoother than ever. So I'm going to talk all about the new attractions, but I just wanted to start by painting what I think is a really optimistic view of all the way that all 4 parks are headed. And, we're starting to get this early glimpse of what the next 10 years might look like at Disney parks. Now, if you're listening to this episode the day it comes out, it's currently Wednesday, May 27th. Yesterday, Thursday, May 26th, was the official kickoff of Cool Kids Summer. This is not the first year this is done, but it's now expanded. And I have to say, I can feel it. Being there, even just getting that early preview, I can feel the expanded nature of Cool Kids Summer. So a couple of things that are returning. Really, one thing that's returning that was there last year, which we'll talk about, is Goofycore. Now, all these other things are new. So there's Jessie's Roundup at Magic Kingdom. There's Bluey's Wild World at Conservation Station. There's Soarin' Across America. There's the magic of Disney animation with a brand new courtyard and a brand new show, Disney Junior Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Live. And the rest of the magic of Disney animation is going to be opening in late summer. Then you have an updated Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run and an updated, we'll call it like a brand new attraction, Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. In addition to that, I mentioned a couple of things that were new that I got to experience. One, I did get the chance to ride in April and got the chance to ride again in May, which was Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, and a new one, which was the refurbished version of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. So let's go through these piece by piece. I'm going to start and end with roller coasters, and I want to start with Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, which is smoother than ever. It's still a wild ride. It's still the wildest ride in the wilderness, but what's great about this is they lowered the height requirement because of the redesign to 38 inches. So now kids who are tall enough for Slinky Dog Dash are also tall enough for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, which is a great addition, making Magic Kingdom more accessible to kids of all ages, of all different, more height requirements now than there were before, and with an updated storyline. So you still have the lore of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, but now you can actually, before you really had to understand the backstory a little bit more. You had to be a little bit more knowledgeable about the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. You had to be a little bit more knowledgeable about the backstory, maybe get some Imagineering books like I did and read into the backstory of it, which, by the way, go back and listen to an episode I did over a year ago about Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, because we discussed the story at length. I'm not going to rehash it all here, but you get this. Again, it's enhanced. So the initial scene, all those bats, they were there before, but now they're there in even greater fashion. There's more bats than ever. You also have the updated lift sequence with this really cool sequence that pays homage to the Rainbow Caverns at Disneyland, which was the original attraction that eventually became Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. So, Nature's Wonderland was the original attraction, but it featured Rainbow Caverns. So you get more of this update, these updated special effects, the updated sequence through the mining town, so you can get a little bit more information about the storyline from there and this flash flooding that's happening. And then you find that, that large gold nugget as you're going up that final lift sequence, which previously was a little bit more terrifying and now is a little bit more, I'm not going to say optimistic because you still don't get the gold nugget, but it's just updated and enhanced. And so I just felt that it created and expanded the longevity of Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and it still is the same Big Thunder Mountain Railroad that you know and love, now updated for brand new generations to enjoy. And because we have this brand new track, which is, again, incredibly smooth, just feels great to ride it, it's something that you can bring your kids on time and time again and have a great time as Disney continues to think about how to take these beloved attractions and keep them relevant for future generations. So head to Magic Kingdom, check out Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. If you're a fan of it, you are not going to be disappointed. I think you're going to love the updates. And if you got kids 38 inches who are tall enough and ready enough to ride it, I think they're going to enjoy it too. Way across the park is Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. I've now done this a few times. I love this update. And I mean that. I mean all of what I'm saying. But the old attraction, it started to feel dated. Now, I did an episode about this as well, so you can go back and listen to that from last month. But now this attraction is more interactive than ever. It has that haptic feedback that you didn't have before. It has the color coding, so you know you're looking for either a red laser or a green laser, so you have a better sense of which one yours is. There's new scoring available, so you can become a Galactic Hero and get a score over 1 million, which before the max points were 999,999. And the updated sequences, the updated hyperspace tunnel that you go through with now Buzz Lightyear featured in there, and the chance to continue to increase your score in that room. Buddy the Robot in the beginning, she's really a great addition for kids. I know that, Maggie loves having her there. I love having her there. And it gives you a chance to practice, much like the practice round in Toy Story Mania, before you get into the main gaming part of the ride. So everything about this, again, is thoughtfully upgraded from its previous version. It features the same nostalgia you know and love, but with these enhanced special effects, this updated technology, this upgraded interactivity, and a chance for this attraction to have new expanded life. So again, if you are at Magic Kingdom, even if you've been on Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin before, it feels like a new attraction to me and worthy of waiting for it, getting the lightning lane for it, whatever you got to do. If you do want to minimize your wait, I'll say that a great pro tip here is if you're not going to rope drop it, if you don't mind skipping Happily Ever After one night, check it out right as Happily Ever After is going to begin, because most people who do that attraction, I find, are going to be watching Happily Ever After. So check it out at that point, or check the wait times throughout the day, see when it's going to be a reduced wait, and then head over there, make sure that you check it out. So those are the 2 updates at Magic Kingdom. Let's jump over to the 2 updates at EPCOT. And these include, first, there's the return of Goofycore. When we went last week, when I got the chance to preview this thanks to Disney Parks, Goofycore was not officially open, but I was in another section of the park at World Showplace where they had a special event showcasing the new shows that are debuting as part of Cool Kids Summer and some of the food, which was delicious. Goofycore is something we loved doing as a family last year. It is in World Celebration. It's in Communicore Hall, so right near the Encanto show. It's right next to that as you're heading to the Land Pavilion from the World Celebration Gardens. It's also right next to the meet and greet for Mickey and Friends. So head in there because it's open the majority of the day. It's open from, I think, about 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it is a place where you can go and recharge as a family. It's air conditioned. It's a great place for kids to get to, dance, to play games with Goofy. They play Limbo. They play all kinds of fun games. There are like a parachute game. They have a DJ in there playing music. And for us, it was that, especially in the middle of the day, because like I said, we go during the summer every year. That's sort of like our week-long Disney vacation. It's when Joanna has a guaranteed week off. The crowds are generally a little bit lower than they are at, let's say, spring break, which is another week she gets off, or even President's Week, which is another week that she gets off. So this is just a great time of year for us to go. And because it is so hot in the summer, especially in the middle of the day, Emily might be napping in her stroller, and we bring Maggie there to play with Goofy, to dance along with Goofy. I have a great time dancing and playing along with her too. And it's the same Goofycore you know and love if you did experience it last year. Now, the new update for EPCOT is Soarin'. Previously we've had two versions of Soarin'. The original Soarin', not Soarin' Around the World. That was the updated version. Soarin' Over California was the original version. Then we had Soarin' Across Around the World. Now we have Soarin' Across America for the semi-quincentennial of the United States. It's the 250th anniversary of the United States of America on July 4th this year. And this is a way for Disney to sort of recognize that and to celebrate it. And if you're a fan of Soarin', I think you're really going to love this version too. They brought back Bruce Broughton, who worked on the soundtrack for Soarin' Around the World, which was adapted from the Jerry Goldsmith version of Soarin' Over California soundtrack. So they brought him back. You can listen to it on online, so definitely check out the Soarin' Across America soundtrack by Bruce Broughton. Has the same exact feels, but with a little bit more of a patriotic spirit. I call it a Soarin' salute to all nations, but mostly America, in a Sam Eagle Muppet Vision 3D reference. But this, it takes you across. It starts, first of all, I think the best part of this new attraction is the beginning, right? Bringing you up into a launch sequence at Port Canaveral. It's timely, it's fun, and it's an incredible transition as it's sort of like as you lift up with the rocket into the clouds. And then I love that they started with New York. You go right into the Statue of Liberty, feels larger than life. You get to see downtown Manhattan, and then you get sweeping vistas of New England, of the Ozarks in Arkansas, of Louisiana and the Bayou. You've got these new scents, including this new Louisiana Bayou scent. Grand Canyon, I'm going a little bit out of order, but Grand Canyon West, Mount Rushmore, which as I was predicting what might come to Soarin' Across America, I said to myself, they have to have Mount Rushmore. So of course they have Mount Rushmore, they have Hawaii, they have Los Angeles, and of course you end up right at EPCOT with the patriotic fireworks. And if you're a fan of Soarin', I think this is worth going to see. It's a great update to the attraction. It might not, just like Soarin' Around the World, it might not be here forever, but that's the great thing about Soarin' is they continue to reprogram it and update it. And either way, this is a great fit, and it's worth it to go just for the pre-show because there's a great funny quip in there from Captain Patrick, who talks about this, handsome young devil who's going to appoint you with some safety instructions. And it goes back to the original Soarin' pre-show with Patrick when he was younger. Just a great quip. I love that they kept Patrick here, Patrick Warburton, to do the pre-show for Soarin' Across America. So many reasons to go and check that out. Now, I have to jump back to Magic Kingdom for just a minute because I missed a brand new show, Jessie's Roundup at Diamond Horseshoe. This is a lot like Goofycore, and when we went for this preview from Disney Parks, Jessie's Roundup was not officially open, but we did get to preview it, just a small sample of it over in Epcot at this private event. And you have Woody up there, you've got Jessie up there, you've got Bullseye, you've got singing, you've got dancing, you've got games, you've got lots of other activities. And much like Goofycore, this is a great place for you and your kids to go and cool down in the middle of the day. You also might catch me at the Disney Vacation Club Lounge next door. I love Sam McKim's. And you can go have a great time. Much like Goofycore, you're going to get the same type of experience with interactivity and fun and dancing and games and characters, but it's going to be Toy Story and the Gang in Frontierland. And I think that's a really fitting addition. And really, all three of the four parks have something like this, where you can go and escape the crowds at like any time of the day. The Disney's Hollywood Studios has something also similar, but not quite the same. And I'll discuss what I mean by that in just a minute. But that's a reason to head to Magic Kingdom and to enjoy something with your family, with the kids. Now let's head over to Disney's Animal Kingdom, because the major update for Disney's Animal Kingdom, which is something that has a virtual queue, so keep in mind that as long as this is popular, and when is it not going to be? It's Bluey, right? It's a global sensation. It's a reason that I'm Really excited to go back to Animal Kingdom this summer. You got to join the virtual queue on the app at 7 a.m. or 10 a.m. to try to get that spot. You can't even board the Wildlife Express train to get to Conservation Station without having a spot in that virtual queue. So make sure you read up on it, brush up on it, and get yourself that spot for Bluey's Wild World. We got to sample a small portion of this last week. The first thing we got to sample was the new characters and the experiences. So I loved getting the chance to see Bluey and Bingo in person. They are definitely larger than life, and I'm curious how Maggie and Emily will react to that, because I remember the first time Maggie met Mickey in person and she was Mickey obsessed, but then she's like, oh my goodness, Mickey is much larger than he looks in the cartoons, and he's got, much larger than his plushie. Now, of course, it's nothing but Mickey hugs. So remember that Bluey and Bingo are a little bit larger than life than kids might be expecting when they see these two characters in person, but they are so much fun. They're so lovable. You just want to give them a big hug. But much like Goofycore and Jessie's Roundup, this is another chance for you to to dance and to play games. And there are also new animals, including kangaroos, to get to see over at Conservation Station. So I love this is infusing new life into Conservation Station. It's a place I always love to go during the summer, so I'm really hopeful I'll get a spot on that virtual queue. But it's a great place to escape. It is indoors. Conservation Station, that part of the show is indoors. So, and they still have the animal care part of Conservation Station active, so you can see animals being cared for by the animal care team or learn more about that, see a little bit of wildlife out there. So it fits into Disney's Animal Kingdom very well. And the other thing I loved was I got to do the new photo pass op, including some of the magic shots that were available, and it's just a lot of fun. I got to, it was about a minute long, and the different poses they have you do, the magic shots they have you do, you even get to do a little bit of dancing like you do, and like you see the family does in the intro for the show, Bluey. And I think you'll have a good time doing it. So definitely check out the photo pass opportunity when you go, if you're going to be heading there this summer. Okay. Last up on our list is Disney's Hollywood Studios, and there is a lot to discuss because there are 3 major attractions that opened on May 26th. And we're going to start with the first one over at Magic of Disney Animation. First of all, I have to give a major shout out to Walt Disney Imagineering for the updated courtyard. Now, I know a lot of Disney fans were upset to see that arch go away, because that was a major part of Disney's Hollywood Studios history, Disney MGM Studios history, that iconic arch that's always been there. But as I saw for the first time rounding that corner around Hollywood Brown Derby, I was really impressed. I think this new sort of like open entryway into Animation Courtyard is very inviting. And I was just at the Walt Disney Studios in January, so I have a literal reference point having been there in person. And look, it's not exactly the same thing, but there's just these little nods here and there that you sort of like look at something and you think, oh, you know what? Maybe I am at the studios in the actual Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California. That street sign that shows the different streets at the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank is iconic, and they recreated it here in Walt Disney World. The entry sign itself is just like a harkening back to the studio. The old Mickey Mouse poster is sort of a harkening back to that. The hat. The one thing I regret is I didn't go back in the evening to see it lighting up, because I sort of like exited from Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets sort of like straight out of the park. So I didn't pass it, but it lights up with these magical twinkling stars in the evening. The main thing for me is how much this space is now perfect for chilling out with the kids. Before I have to say, like, we did the meet and greets with Vampirina, Fancy Nancy, Pluto in Animation Courtyard, And in the summer, oh, I was like dying in that courtyard, especially in the middle of the day. It's 90 degrees. The sun is beating down on Animation Courtyard. You're waiting in these lines that are covered, but the sun is just at this angle where you have to be like perfectly in the shade. It was hot. And now there is shade. And I cannot tell you like what a major difference just having shade and a little bit of, this AstroTurf grass to just relax on is, and benches and this covered little canopy, just like all these little touches make it just a nice little park-like environment in a theme park. And I love that Disney has been doing this with, EPCOT, with World Celebration, with those World Celebration gardens and those places to lounge. And this is not as big as that, but if you are waiting for the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse live show, then this is a great place to congregate. And then you've got these little hidden characters from Walt Disney Animation just sort of like throughout the courtyard. So the courtyard itself, fantastic. And I know that there's also an updated baby care center, because I got to be honest, again, the worst baby care center was Hollywood Studios. It's basically like it was a room. And if you compare that to Magic Kingdoms and EPCOTs and Animal Kingdoms, those are wonderful. I love spending time on those baby care centers with the girls. But now I'm very excited to check out this new baby care center at Hollywood Studios. And it is perfectly positioned in this courtyard, because you've got the Little Mermaid show. You've got now this Disney Junior show. You've got the courtyard itself. You're going to have the Magic of Disney Animation opening up. So it's perfectly placed and centrally located in the park, instead of where it used to be sort of sharing a space with guest relations at the very front of the park near the turnstiles. So the major show that was added to the Magic of Disney Animation Courtyard is Disney Junior Mickey Mouse Clubhouse Live. Previously this was the Disney Junior Dance Party. It was about 10 minutes long. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. And for Cool Kids Summer, this was also one of those spaces where you can come in sort of like Goofycore and just dance along with, we saw Timon, we saw Doc McStuffins, Fancy Nancy, some Pluto, just Mickey, just a lot of fun characters. But this is a fantastic show. It's the same exact space, but they have original songs. I didn't get to experience the Disney California Adventure version yet, but I've heard it's the same version as that. And I am very excited to take Maggie and Emily to see this new show, because it's, first of all, I didn't look at my watch, but I'm pretty sure it's 20 minutes long. And that is a great amount of time to be spending in the AC. And they keep the kids' attention. I was in there. They have Bubbles, they have Snope, and it's all integrated into this story of trying to find, Mickey and Minnie are trying to find their friends from the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And the songs that go along with it, there's just, I don't want to spoil it, but it is great. So go and check it out if you've got kids, or if you're just curious. It's really, again, something that is very high on my list for Hollywood Studios with the girls. Now, these last two, I'm going to spend a little bit less time on, surprisingly, because I'm going to tease out here. I have new episodes that are going to be coming out specifically about the Imagineering of these two new attractions, because I had the great opportunity to spend a lot of time here and to interview 4 Imagineers who worked on these attractions. So you get to hear those interviews, and I'm going to be with another guest as we talk about the Imagineering behind these new experiences. But Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run is the first one up here. And the blueprint for this attraction is exactly the same, right? They could sort of like flip a switch and go from the legacy Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run attraction to this new version that features the Mandalorian and Grogu. So now you have much more options to choose from. Yes, someone in your cabin does get to choose which planet you go to and which mission you get to enjoy. And you're going to get to see Mando. You're going to get to see Grogu. You can unlock Grogu mode. There's different types of experiences that happen. They moderately, very, very small. They made a small adjustment to the pre-show to update with the storyline. So when you go and see it, you'll see what that is. Because you're now no longer having Chewbacca and trying to help the Resistance on this smuggling mission. But it's an updated storyline. So again, I'm going to save a lot of details for that episode, but if you're a fan of Star Wars, and in particular this attraction, you now have a much greater rewritability factor. And, my cousins, Mike and Brian, keep a running list for Star Tours The Adventure Continues of every possible combination they've gotten before, and it's a long list. And I imagine that if you keep a running list yourself, you will get to experience lots of different things on Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, so be sure to check that out. Last one, and again, I am going to do a much bigger episode about this, is Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. This is an incredible update. I got to experience this in a way most guests never will, so I'm going to acknowledge that here, which is the ability to walk through and ride through as often as I wanted with no wait. I could even stay in the pre-show and watch it again and again. But for me, it's much like when we did the Pirates of the Caribbean, the Beacon Barrel Tavern episode, where I talked about our preview there and how I would have been that annoying guest, right? I was walking throughout the entire room. I was looking at every nook and cranny and taking pictures and videos. I don't want to do that with lots of guests around. So this gave me a chance to sort of do that, right? To look at every single detail, to spend a little extra time in that opening rotunda and see all the celebrity cameos, to look for all the Easter eggs for Muppet Vision 3D and the Muppets movie and the Muppets in general. And there's countless. I learned that there are over 100 Muppets featured in this attraction. There were over 100 songs considered for this attraction, and some of the Imagineers got to ride this attraction over 100 times to get it just right. And I was impressed. I really was, because it, much like the updates I talked about for Big Thunder Mountain Railroad and Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, it's still Rock and Roller Coaster. If you love Rock and Roller Coaster and the fact that it combines a thrill ride roller coaster with music and classic rock, you're still going to get that. It's more some of it's more modern rock, but you are really going to still love that this ride is the same. It's the same ride. It's the same storyline, updated with the Muppets. You're still going to a concert. You're still getting VIP tickets. You're still boarding the super fast, super stretch limo, or as we learn now, it's called Limo. That's how it's pronounced now. You're going to get a ton of Muppet Vision 3D Easter eggs. You're going to get a ton of Muppet Easter eggs. It's still just as fun. And I was, you're going to find references even to Rock and Roller Coaster, the old Rock and Roller Coaster. There are so many reasons why, and again, we'll talk about this in another episode, but you've got to experience this. And even if you're skeptical, right, check it out. I think you're going to be converted into a believer after you experience Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. It is what I hoped for when this news was announced, and all the predictions I made. It's that and more. The Imagineers really paid close attention to what fans wanted out of this, and still trying to reimagine how to keep it relevant for generations to come. Look, I became a fan of Aerosmith because of Rock and Roller Coaster. I was a kid. I didn't really know. I had heard maybe an Aerosmith song or two, but this made me an Aerosmith fan. So much so that Joanna and I went to 3 concerts for Aerosmith when we were dating. So Aerosmith is a part of my DNA in that sense. I still think this is a greater attraction. Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. It fits. And oh my goodness, that concert we got to see for the Electric Mayhem in that preview, that media preview was just wonderful. So thanks to Disney Parks for setting that up. And might I recommend a world tour for Electric Mayhem, because it was just so much fun, so zany. It was like watching a Muppets movie in person, and it was just great. So again, there's going to be a deeper dive coming up, but just spoiler alert, it was great. There's so much as a part of Cool Kids Summer. I hope this gave you an idea of everything that Disney has worked on and the direction that Disney is heading in, and all the reasons why you should definitely take a trip to Walt Disney World this summer and experience all these great new attractions. Welcome back to Imagination Central. Before you exit this episode, remember to follow Imagination Skyway on social media and share the show with anyone who might enjoy listening to our program. If you're looking for ad-free episodes and bonus content, become an Imagination Skyway pass holder at patreon.com/Imagination Skyway. When you're ready for your next vacation, remember that listeners of Imagination Skyway can get rewarded for booking a trip to Disney in 2026 through KMV Travel, voted the top travel agency in Orlando in 2025. Simply fill out the form at kmvtravel.com/Skyway and make sure that you select Imagination Skyway under the How Did You Hear About Us question to be eligible for a special gift from the team. Terms and conditions apply. As you disembark, please remember to remain fully seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop. Then gather your belongings and watch your head and step as you exit. Thank you for joining me aboard Imagination Skyway, and remember, if we can dream it, we can do it.